And then once I start going over the agenda, any Insight PA staff who's here and is a co-host, if you could just keep an eye on that waiting room, I would be grateful. There is a fly in my office. All right. Well, in the interest of time, we're going to get started. This is being recorded, so anyone who is not able to make it or joins us late will be able to see this on their own time. So, welcome to our first community town hall of the 24-25 school year. Thank you to the Insight PA staff, parents, and guardians who are here with us tonight. This is a new structure for us in that we are going to be presenting one of these meetings each month of the year through May. And each meeting will have a set agenda that will be shared out ahead of time. It will feature presentations from a variety of our Insight PA teams on different topics. And in each meeting, there will always be time for our guests to ask some questions on the topics for that evening's agenda. So tonight we're going to hear from our CEO, Eileen Canastrassi, our Chief Academic Officer, Julie Jaskar, two members of our new family-facing technology support staff, Shanice Maloney and Peyton Perrott, Jaleesa Epps, our compliance manager, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sarah Stell, the Director of Communications. So I am going to stop my share and I'm going to pass things over to our CEO, Eileen Canastrassi.
Thanks, Sarah. Good evening, all. Let me get my handy dandy presentation going. Thanks for joining us tonight. And for those watching the recording, thanks for listening and watching our recording. As Sarah said, my goal here tonight is to kind of give some introductions on our Board of Trustees, our executive leadership team, and review our updated school mission and vision, some goals, and some updates. So, for our school board, we do have a new president this year. Chris Rossi is now serving. He has been on our board for many years, but is now serving as our board president. Our vice president, Ed Knittel, is with us tonight. Ed has been on our board for several years as well, and is now serving in a role of vice president. Ed, I didn't know if you wanted to just jump on the microphone and give a welcome or any
I'm just glad to
introduction.
see everybody here this evening. I'm glad you're participating. I'm glad to see our members of the school community here. And we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you throughout the year and wish you and your students all the very best this school year.
Thanks, Ed. We have Lowell Thomas is our treasurer, and Dr. Katie McGean serves as our secretary. The remaining are just our board members serving as trustees are Bill Ferreira, Alice Solomon, and Tamara Campbell. We do have a nice, well-rounded board with various experiences that they're bringing to the table to help support us in the work that we're doing. Tamara is a parent at our school. Bill is a former superintendent of a school district. And Alice has background also in social work. And so we have a nice round board with experience that they bring to the table to help us in the work that we're doing. And we encourage, as Ed had said, for parents and staff to participate in our board meetings and to reach out if you have great suggestions or ideas for us. And our executive leadership team, myself, Eileen Canastrassi, I have been serving as the CEO of Insight since we were founded back in 2017. I've been in public education here in Pennsylvania for over 30 years in various roles, starting as teacher, lead teacher, principal, assistant principal, and CEO. We have Beth Jones is our COO, or Chief Operations Officer. Beth also has many years of experience in public education here in Pennsylvania, working in a brick and mortar charter school, as well as here at Insight. we have Julie Jaskar, who is here with us tonight. So she'll be speaking with you later. Julie is our Chief Academic Officer, also has many years of experience in public education, special education, and has been serving as our CAO for the last several years. And then Michael Frost, our Chief Technology and Innovation Officer. This is actually a new position in our executive team beginning last year. As we really have begun to bring a lot of our technological services in-house, and also really wanting to make sure that we have innovative practices in how we're using technology, which is why the board wanted to ensure that we had a chief executive at this level to oversee all of that work, and to ensure that we really can provide that technology to help customize the education that students are receiving here at Insight. Now, as I had said, I've been the CEO here at Insight for the last 7 years. We're going on our 8th year. We have had a lot of change in that 8 years, given just the growth of our school. And the work that we've been doing over the last several years to really build up a strong school community. And so the board really last year had wanted to really revisit our school mission and vision, because we felt like from where we were in 2017 to where we are now, our mission and vision really needed that revision to better reflect who we are as a school and who we're aspiring to be. So the board worked with myself, the leadership team, a group of cross-functional stakeholders who are supporting us in the CSI planning to help us update our mission and vision. And so I really like to, I know that you can read, but I would like to read it out in terms of what our new mission is that we think best represents who we are as a school. So Insight PA wants to empower, nurture, and engage students with innovative tools and the mindset to cultivate a culture of continuous learning, inclusivity, and respect. By fostering an environment that meets each student where they are and values each individual's unique contributions, we aim to inspire students to overcome obstacles, thrive academically and personally, and make meaningful impacts within their communities and beyond. And our vision is, our new vision is a way to encapsulate what we're aspiring to do. And that is that Insight PA is a technologically innovative cyber charter school that provides equitable education opportunities geared towards igniting a lifelong passion for learning. We strive to cultivate intentional community partnerships while focusing on global and digital citizenship to create clear pathways for our students to achieve their goals. So we're really, as I had said, focused on being technologically innovative, which is why we've been very intentional about building out that department, but also really looking at ways to be intentional in the partnerships that we develop as our students come to us from all across the Commonwealth. And so we really want to make sure that we have that community presence for our students in the communities that they live, while also really making sure that we're preparing our students for their future. And as we know, the way that technology really has continually changed the future of the workforce and our economy. And so we really feel by focusing on those global and digital citizenship skills will really empower our students to be successful, as we have been learning through the use of AI and other technology tools that our global economy is really, we're very connected now. And so we think that's going to be really important for our students to have a good sense of other cultures and countries and what it means to be a good digital citizen so that they can be successful in the work that they're doing. So that's our mission and our vision. And our shared values here at the school, also a key component of our charter, and what we as a school community aspire to share these values with parents, with our community members, with our staff. And so those shared values, again, are just really setting high expectations for all, identifying and removing barriers that impede student growth, identifying the best individualized learning approach that's going to meet students' unique needs, engaging in meaningful, direct communication about goals and progress, fostering deep collaborative partnerships among students, parents, community, teachers, staff, and administrators. Utilizing research-based instruction to ensure mastery for all, and respecting that time is a limited commodity that should never be wasted. And so I really encourage parents who are here in this session tonight, or who are listening to this session tonight, to really review and think about those values and ensure that you're reaching out and connecting with us, because that deep collaboration and those partnerships that we have as a shared value are really important to us, and why we're having events like these town halls, to be able to speak with our parents and hear from our parents about their child's experience here at the school, so that we can always make sure that we really are working to meet those students where they are and really help them develop that skill set to overcome obstacles and be successful in their public education. So thanks for the parents that are here tonight and who are listening to that recording. And we'll continue to strive to meet these values together. And then the last piece for me is really just an update for our community, our parent community, about our relationship with our education management organization, STRIDE, or many people know them as K-12, their former name. And when the school was founded back in 2017, our board did enter into an agreement to have an education management organization help us to get the school up and running. And K-12 was pivotal in those early years to providing us with enrollment services and technological services and many support staff to help us in this work. But we are now a school that is going into our 8th year. And so we really have, over the years, started to develop much more independence, functioning more as our own school without the need for a management organization to help us. And so that agreement will be ending as of June of 2025 with the Education Management Company. So we will no longer be managed by STRIDE. There may be services that we'll be continuing to use with STRIDE. I'll continue to keep parents update on the impacts for you and your children with that, but I wanted to at least make sure that we were providing this communication so parents were aware of that relationship, and that agreement with STRIDE will be ending at the end of this school year. That is everything that I had for my presentation. I did wanted to share my contact information, because as I had said, it's really important for us to be able to have opportunities like this in town halls to meet with parents, talk with parents, and hear from parents about the various topics that we'll be covering in town halls. But if you think of other questions or concerns that you have, it's always important to connect with your child's teacher, to connect with the program principals that your children, for the programs that they're in. But if you have some broader ideas or feedback that you would like to give me just about the school in general, you can always reach out to me, and I'll be sure to follow up with you. So I thank everybody for their attention with this presentation. I will stop sharing so that I can pass the microphone over to Julie Jaskar.
Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen? This
Yeah.
is CSI. That's great news. So as Eileen said, my name is Julie Jaskar, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer. One of the things that we wanted to do is review our comprehensive support and improvement goals for this year. We have sent out the CSI plan via the website to everyone this summer. We did that last summer too. We also sent out Google Forms for people that are interested in being part of that committee, especially parents, community members, to be a part of our CSI team. And that offer always stands. So if you're a parent that's listening and you'd like to get involved with creating goals and reviewing strategies we can implement to reach our goals as part of the academic team, please reach out to me. And again, I also will provide contact information at the end of the presentation. So in regards to those goals and where we are right now, really centers, of course, around student improvement. So in the areas of reading and math, you will see goals there, and I don't want to read it word for word. But those diagnostic tests that we take in the beginning of every year, that might be the Ames web for your child, or the exact path or some of those SEL screeners to see how students are doing with their school behaviors. Those come out on a regular cadence throughout the school year. We want to see that from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, that each one of our students made growth. And that is what Insight is all about, that your child, no matter where they are, whether they're struggling in a certain area or excelling in a certain area, we want them to continue to make that growth, regardless on an individual basis. And those two top goals reflect that in the areas of math and reading. The next goal is that 69% of our students will graduate from high school within that 4-year cohort. We do open our doors for all students, even if they're credit deficient at that high school level, because we know that we could get them to that finish line through the strategies that we'll review here shortly. We also want to reduce our amount of absences. We recognize that kids will be absent from time to time, but the Pennsylvania Department of Ed, as well as all of the districts within Pennsylvania, are really striving to keep that number above 10 absences, because what we find is if students miss more than 10 absences, it is harder for them to make up that achievement in those gains that we were talking about in those first two goals. So really consistent attendance is part of that, recognizing that there'll be some excused absences from time to time, just by nature of being a child, and the germs that go around. The next goal is around our student-centered coaching cycle. So again, this is ingrained in every child makes progress. So within the classroom, you might notice that your students are taking pre-assessments before we start any unit of study. That's so that we can individually look at where each child is starting in regards to their baseline knowledge. And then our teachers work with instructional coaches and administrators to make sure each child, again, is making progress that's meaningful for them in a very individualized way. And we expect 80% of our kids to make that growth within those units. And for our students that may be having difficulty reaching those levels, we have a tiered system of MTSS. So students have individualized goals, and we have learning targets for them, and we keep track of these goals. So if your student's receiving time with a math intervention specialist or receiving high dosage tutoring through their WIN time, this is where we're making sure that that student is making growth and trying other strategies if that does not come through. And that's part of that WIN time. So whether we're giving students some individualized help or enrichment, it really, again, goes back to those assessments, because we want to fill in everybody's learning gaps. So as they come into classes, they're continuing to improve and have the capabilities of reaching all of those academic standards. So what are the strategies that we're using? Again, we're using that student-centered coaching model. So that's our instructional coaches working with teachers, making sure we're differentiating for each child in any particular classroom. We're using team-initiated problem solving. So if, again, students aren't reaching their goal, we have a room of professionals associated with your child to say, are there other strategies that we can employ to make sure that that student is moving forward? We have high dosage tutoring. So for students that may be doing really well in class, but we know that they might be struggling in just one area of fractions, that high dosage tutoring can get them over that hump. So when they get to rational numbers, that all makes sense too. So it's really just that little bit of attention on a learning gap they might be having. Of course, we have the LEAP program. That's the Learner Engagement and Attendance Program. And that's where, positively, we're trying to reach out to our parents even going to their home saying, great job with attending, great job turning in your work. And if that ever starts to go down, we're there to provide resources and partner with you as a parent on any way that we can support. And again, all of our programs are positive based, where we want to partner with you, and recognizing that sometimes it's just a resource, and you being able to say, give us feedback on how we can make your child more comfortable in the classroom. We also have accelerated pathways. So for our students that do come in credit deficient, we have several different options that they can use to get the credits needed for that 4-year graduation. And that's done in partnership with your team and guidance counselor. So if a student did have some lack of success in the past, that doesn't mean that has to completely impact your child's future. We have accelerated programs to make up those credits, and that can be done at any time in the year. So we really want to meet students where they're at and move them forward, and that's where these strategies are all ingrained. So, a lot of what I talked about is why we assess your students. A lot of times, when we're giving either the Aimsweb or ExactPath or looking at an SEL screener, or when it's time for those PSSAs, some parents may wonder, what is the point? Either I know my student's doing really well, or I know that we're somewhere on that path of improvement. So, why should I test? Well, a lot of it is educational accountability. What are we doing as a school to make sure that our values of moving each and every student forward is coming to fruition? So it's accountability for us that we're doing what we're saying, and that every child has an individual approach to learning. This is the way we identify those learning gaps. So when your child is engaged in those what I need times, it's the most fruitful. We know what they need, and we're able to deliver that by certified professionals. And again, those assessments allow us to do that. Resource allocation. So for instance, when we were reviewing our CSI goals, we noticed that, math was an area of concern. That kind of data lets us know, hey, it's really time to do a deep dive into our curriculum. Are our kids seeing themselves within this curriculum? Are we following a scope and sequence of the units in study that make a lot of sense for our kids to move on to that next grade level successfly? So for instance, we might look at more resources within that curriculum to add. I know an example this year was that with materials, we were sending our students some differentiated calculators or some number lines. It's this kind of assessment data that lets us know that we need to try new strategies with our students. It also informs policy decisions. So as we're identifying different curriculums or different programs, for instance, like that high dosage tutoring I spoke of that focuses on those standards. Again, the data from our assessments, PSSAs and those pre-assessments and diagnostics in the beginning of the year really inform that work so we could do the most for our students, based in real data. And finally, and most importantly, is, equity in education. We know that education is not one size fits all. We know that education should be individualized. We recognize that we need to honor the backgrounds of all of our students, and the importance of, bringing that to their education. And also assessment data lets us do that. So if there is a subgroup of students that are not performing well, we know as a school that we need to do more to support our students. That's what in their business of doing. Your voice matters. What students are doing matters. And we really want to deliver that individualized approach so that every one of our students makes progress towards their goals. I thank you for your time. Again, I will put my email within the chat. And if you have interest in being on a CSI committee, or you want to know more about what your student can get in regards to individualized path and what is happening during those win times, please reach out. We cannot do it without your partnership, and we celebrate that. So thank you for your time, and I will allow the next presenter to move on.
All right. Hello, Insight families. I welcome you to the newest addition to the Insight PA Cyber Charter School, which is the Family Technology Support Team. On this support team, you will see myself, Shanice Maloney, as the Technology Support Manager, and Peyton Peratt as the Technology Support Specialist. We have 3 software programs that we want to talk to you about tonight. The first program is the Student Square or Parent Square. Parent Square is a platform that keeps everyone in the loop. When it comes to communication, parents can communicate and students can communicate with their teachers. They also can receive school-wide notices and receive resources from various clubs or teachers or anything that might be going on in the neighborhood. You can get this in the form of an email or push notification from the app. So speaking of app, you can download the app today on your mobile app or phone through your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. If you're on the computer, most likely your student will be on a computer. They will be using Student Square, which they can access that through their Schoology app. So let's talk about Schoology. Schoology is a centralized hub for teachers to post their assignments, as well as a place for students to complete their assignments. Our Schoology website can be found in various places, such as our main Insight website at the top right corner of the screen. You might see a little icon that says Schoology if you go onto our main website. You can type in the URL insightpa.schoology.com to get to the exact website for Schoology for your child. Or on some computers, they might see an icon already on their home page desktop. Students need into it daily to access their classes throughout the day. Well, speaking of classes, Class Resume is where they will be meeting their teacher and their classmates for their virtual face-to-face sessions. They will be able to access this platform through their Schoology accounts, found on the left-hand menu under Materials. Lastly, I would like to talk to you guys about tech tickets. If your child is having an issue on their computer or software, you can always ask for help in these 3 ways. The first way would be contacting K-12 Stride. You will only need to call Stride if your computer is not functioning properly or is damaged, like a broken screen or the keys are missing from the keyboard. You can either call them from the number you see on the screen or type into their 24/7 chat support. If your student is experiencing issues while they are in class, they can notify the teacher or submit a class ticket by clicking the green shield at the top left corner of their screen while they are in session. Common issues they may have would be microphone not working or their camera is not turning on during their class. Anything related to class, you would need to put a class support ticket or notify the teacher. And lastly, if it's not a hardware issue or a class issue, you can reach out to us at the help desk by emailing itsupport@ispacyber.net. If you do that, please leave a detailed message with your child's name and exactly what is wrong with the computer or software in order for us to help. If you have a screenshot, that will be the most help that you can give. I know I told you a lot, but please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you need. We are always here to help and serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanice.
I will go ahead and share my screen. One second. All right, can you guys see my presentation?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, hi, my name is Jaleesa Epps, and I'm the Compliance Manager for Insight. Tonight, we will be going over some of our federal programs, specifically Title I, II, III, and IV. So this is going to be the federal programs agenda for tonight. We just wanted to take some time to go over some of the grants we've received and be sure to let you guys know what we are using the funds from those grants for and how we're using it for staffing and programming at the school. So each year, Insight applies for and receives federal funding to supplement the educational program we have here. One of the sources of our federal funding is Title I. But what is Title I? Everyone always asks exactly what Title I is, what is used for, why we receive it, right? So Title I is a federal program that provides financial assistance to schools so that they can provide additional academic support and learning opportunities for their students. Schools that qualify for Title I school-wide programs have a high percentage of economically disadvantaged students. The intent is that the economically disadvantaged students have the same opportunities as any other student at any other school to meet or exceed the state academic standards. So here are some additional title programs the government offers to schools, but for us, in addition to Title I, we also receive and participate in the title programs that's in this black box right here. So I don't know if you guys can see that part, but this black box has Title II, Title III, and Title IV. Title II is for preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers and principals for our students, and it also helps us hone in on our staff skills. Title III helps us support our EL students and our immigrant students. And Title IV is for student support and academic enrichment. That really helps us provide all students with access to a well-rounded education and improve school conditions for student learning. So as a school, the overall goal is to increase academic achievement. Title I aids in this effort by allowing us to focus on direct instructional supports, provide PDs, professional developments for our teachers, and also to promote parent and family engagement and educational opportunities for our parents. Reviewing and analyzing school achievement data is one of the ways we determine which areas we need to focus on for additional supports when we go ahead and submit those grant applications. So what we normally do is we analyze our PSSA, Keystone, and benchmark assessment results to determine the academic growth and where we need to improve. And then we use that assessment data to see if it really aligns with our academic program and the state academic standards. And then we take that information and we adjust our instructional practices based on what we find during that data analysis. In addition to the achievement data, we analyze the feedback given to us from our families and staff members who complete our needs assessment survey. And all of this information is what really helps us make informed decisions to prioritize the needs for our students and families. And that's what helps us build the layout for our federal programs. Parent and family engagement is very important for student success because it helps our students with their behavior and it also helps our students perform better in school. We would like to encourage all of our families to read the current parent and family engagement policy and then collaborate with us to see if there's anything that we could improve in the policy, if there's anything we could improve with our school culture, and just give us some feedback and just tell us what you think. In previous years, we only had a district level parent and family engagement policy. But as a result of all of our great parents and guardians responding to our needs assessment, we have developed a school level policy. This is a policy that is available on our website and is also sent out to our families with each monthly newsletter. It's kind of set up like a Q&A, and you should be able to easily go through the policy and get any answers you have in regards to parent meetings, title programs, school planning, or anything of that nature. The school, our families, and our students must work in unison. When a student enrolls, each family receives our parent and school compact. The compact is a collective agreement saying we share responsibility for student achievement. The compact outlines the responsibilities for the school and the responsibilities for the parents. So, for example, one of Insight's responsibilities involve providing your students with a high-quality educational program that supports their environments for learning. And then another one of our responsibilities could be something along the lines of just keeping ongoing communication with our families. We know that in a virtual school environment, communication is going to be one of the most important components for your child's success. So that's why that is included in the compact. A few of the responsibilities for our parents and learning coaches are making sure your students are attending school every day and making sure they're completing their assignments on time. But both the parent and family engagement policy and the school compact can be found in the monthly school-wide newsletter that's sent out each and every month. There should be a little section in there entitled Focus on Federal Programs, and there will be a link that will take you directly to the compact and the policies. During the year, the Student Support Services team will offer workshops and events geared towards parents and families. Some topics that may be discussed are things like mental health awareness, progress reports, or understanding state assessments. These are just a few examples of what may be offered, but again, we highly encourage you all to let us know what types of workshops you want to see, and we will do our best to try to facilitate those sort of workshops. Title I is very specific in addressing parent and family rights. Parents and families have several rights when it comes to Title I. They have the right to ask for meetings and trainings, review our achievement data, review and modify the Title I parent and family engagement policy or the school compact I just talked about, to review the parent and family engagement plan, or even to review the annual parent and family engagement survey results. My favorite part, funding and allocations, money, money, money. So the amount of Title I funding we get depends on the number of students enrolled at our school that would qualify for free or reduced lunch. So every year we have to report the number of students and families who are eligible to receive free and reduced lunch. We actually just reported this information to the state on October the 1st, and we normally report that information to the state each and every year, either on the 1st or a little bit after the 1st, depending on what date the 1st falls on. But this is where that family income form comes into play. That's the form that each family has to fill out to help us determine whether or not their students would qualify for free or reduced lunch, which in turn allows Insight to receive additional funding and qualify as a school-wide program. So any school who has over 40% of its students who would be eligible to receive free and reduced lunch is eligible for a school-wide title program. Since Insight does have a population over that threshold of 40%, we would be considered a school-wide program. A school-wide program allows us to service all of our students under Title I, regardless of what their economic status is. So in an effort to be transparent, we want you to know exactly how much funding we are receiving and what we're using those funds for. So as of today, our Title I allocation is about $2 million. Those funds are being used on Read 180, which is a reading intervention program, for salaries and partial benefits for some interventionists, for some parent and family engagement activities, for our MKV set aside, which is our homeless population of students, and for salaries and partial benefits for some of our LEAP specialists that Julie mentioned earlier. We also receive Title II and Title III. So for Title II, we receive about $143,000. Those funds are used for salaries and partial benefits for some instructional coaches. And then for Title III, we receive about $16,000. Those funds are used for our English Learner Success application, for a WIDA conference, which is just pretty much staff professional development for the staff members who work directly with students who would qualify for Title III, and then for a language learning program, Rosetta Stone. Title IV is broken down into 3 different components: a safe and healthy student component, a well-rounded education, and the effective use of technology. For Title IV, we receive about $154,000, and we break it into 3 different categories. We focus on safe and healthy students by providing our school community a safe and supportive environment for learning, for physical health, and for mental health, and for any other activities that gives our students access to a safe and healthy educational experience. We focus on a well-rounded education by offering students courses and activities that gives our students access to an enriched educational experience. Personally, I really love that they've expanded some aspects of Title IV for schools, because it really allows us to kind of define what a well-rounded education would mean for our students, for our particular students and their particular needs. And here at Insight, we don't really consider a well-rounded education just music and just art, but we also consider providing ways to help our students grow, to expose our students to new experiences, and provide some college and career readiness for our students by offering things like apprenticeships programs, business certifications, and all of these other programs and materials that we have listed here. We focus on the effective use of technology by ensuring we are promoting digital literacy for our students, by providing professional development to our technology staff, by sending them to a conference to learn all of the new and innovative things involving technology, so that they can come back and update our teachers who teach and support our students with their technology needs. This is an extremely important factor considering we are an online school with virtual instruction. We also received a grant from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, PCCD. They came out with a grant that originated as a response to the COVID-19 disaster, just to make sure schools can adequately address mental health issues and safety issues within schools. We receive about $70,000 from the PCCD mental health portion of the grant, and those funds are used to help support our PBIS program, which strives to incentivize and reward positive behavior from our students. These funds also help us secure a contract with UWIL to support us with our students' mental health needs and to provide professional development to our staff on things like mental health first aid and crisis training. We received about $70,000 from the PCCD School Safety Initiative portion of the grant, and those funds are used for our school safety coordinator. Our school safety coordinator ensures safety and security by implementing plans to promote a safe environment for our students and our staff in person and virtually. Sometimes there are some in-person events that he will provide safety and security measures for. The safety coordinator provides training for students and staff members on topics like situational awareness, emergency procedures, and bullying awareness. They provide reports to our board of directors on safety and security practices. They oversee our emergency response plans and perform safety audits, inspections, and any other employee training that's related to safety. We also receive funding from the IDEA grant, which focuses on the need of our special education students. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a law that makes free and public education available to children with disabilities throughout the entire nation. And it makes sure that those children get special education services and any other related services. We receive about $751,000 in IDEA funding. We use those funds for a behavior interventionist, special education transition coordinators, special education compliance coordinators, life skills teachers, special education teachers, and speech therapy. So earlier in this town hall, Julie mentioned our CSI designation. So along with the CSI designation comes additional funding, which brings us to the School Improvement Grant. This is a grant that helps us provide resources and ultimately helps our students raise their grades and gain a better understanding of the material they're learning. We received about $273,000 in SIG funds, and we use those funds for a curriculum coordinator, student resource coordinator, and instructional coach. So as I stated earlier, we encourage all of our parents and families and stakeholders to get involved with the school planning. But if there are any grant-specific follow-up questions or concerns, please reach out to either me, Jaleesa Epps, the compliance manager, or to Ms. Johanna Bess, our Director of Reporting and Compliance, at the contact information listed right here on the screen. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to this presentation. And Sarah, I will turn the mic back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaleesa, and thank you to everyone who presented tonight. Jaleesa, if you stop your screen share, I will share our upcoming events. But before we do that, if anyone has any questions about any of the topics that we covered in tonight's town hall, you can go ahead and raise your hand using that feature here in Zoom. If you're having trouble with that, you can also indicate in the chat if you have a question and would like to come on the mic. And while we wait to see if anybody does want to, I am going to share the events that we have coming up for the rest of October and then also through the month of November. So this coming Friday, the 25th, we have two events, one in Lebanon County and one in Bucks County. Friday, November 1st, we have three events happening in Allegheny County, Lehigh County, and Adams County. The following Friday will be in Erie County and Montgomery County. Friday, November 15th, we have an event in Lackawanna County. And then November 22nd, we will be in Blair County, Berks County, and in Philadelphia at the Franklin Institute. So in Center City for that. We encourage all of our families to check our calendar frequently on the website. All of these events are on our calendar, and some beyond November. You can start to sign up for December events as well. And that's right on our website, insightpaschool.org/calendar. Or if you just go to the main page, you can click calendar at the top of the page. Our next community town hall will be on Tuesday, November 19th, starting at 6:30. And we will be talking about monitoring your child's progress, ways to support and check on their progress. And that will be timed with the end of Q1 and Q1 report cards, which will be sent out during the month of November. And if there are no questions, I think we can bring our first town hall to a close. Thank you to those who are here. If you did not, please make sure you completed that sign-in form. Any parents or guardians who are here tonight, we will use that sign-in form to do our drawing for an item of your choice from our school store. I hope everyone has a great evening, and we will see you next month.
Thanks all. Have a great night.